Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the podcast this week. I have Damon. Is it Damon or Damien?
Damien, it
Okay,
is, yeah.
Damien. And listen to this accent of his. It's really cool, right? It's Damien Rider. And Damien, I would love it if you could just tell our guests just where you're from, first of all, and a little bit about yourself. We're just digging right in today.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm from Australia. I guess my home base in Australia would be the Gold Coast, though I've lived all over. I lived in Melbourne for a little while, and then I went back to the Gold Coast because it suited my lifestyle and what I wanted to do a little bit more, and back into the ocean and back surfing again. But currently I'm in El Salvador at a place called Mazada Point, which is amazing waves, and it's beautiful weather and amazing people and everything. So I'm here at just sort of building retreat packages at the moment, just helping people with mind and body experience, just a bit of transformation, and yeah, so it's pretty cool.
So, how is it that you grew up? Like, what kind of atmosphere? Can you just kind of give our listeners a little bit about, just a little bit about your childhood and how it's impacted you, and then dive into saying, what you do today? Because obviously, I know what you do, but our listeners don't yet.
Sure. So I guess I had a bit of an unconventional childhood. There was a lot of domestic and child abuse that was happening there, like physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, all going on. The age of 6 to 9, I pretty much lived on the streets. I lived in rock caves on the beach. I lived under jetties, homeless, pretty much fending for myself. Not the ideal way to start your life, I guess. My life could have gone a few different ways, living with that and with PTSD and the trauma that was stuck inside of me. It pretty much controlled most of my life for about 34 years until I took a stand on it. It's not like I didn't try to overcome, these obstacles that were stuck hanging on my shoulders. I tried everything from therapists to relationships to travel to sports, businesses, everything to try and find what I thought I was looking for, this happiness, but really it turned out I was just looking for that peace of mind, and it took me a long time to work that out, what I was actually looking for. And it wasn't until I did this big challenge. I paddled from the Gold Coast down to Bondi Beach. So it's the east coast of Australia. It was 500 miles. It was 17 days by myself in the ocean, just on a little paddleboard, just paddling by hand.
Oh my word.
I had 21 shark encounters, knocked off the board, circles, stalked, all that sort of stuff. But along the way, I had so many awakenings, and one of them was to give thanks to all the challenges and all the obstacles that I'd overcome in my life. And that's what was able to keep me going during the paddle, each day, and just be able to start really processing them. I hadn't throughout my life. I'd lived so fast paced, and I was just living day by day. And, because growing up thinking that every day could be my last day, every time I went home, that was kind of just embedded into me, really. So to be able to break free of that and know that I'm going to continue on, and know that, even though there's sharks in the water, there's sharks on land that are kind of more dangerous sometimes, plus the ones that are twisting around and swimming around in your own head, when you get that monkey mind going on. So to be able to get through each of those challenges while I was in the ocean, but also seeing myself progressing forward, reaching each headland and each little step and destination. And I could only go as fast as my hands could paddle, which wasn't very fast. And I was going against the currents, and there was winds and swells, and I was knocked off the board, and I'd lost food and water, and I had to sleep on the beach. And, every day was like a week or a month worth of emotional trauma that I was putting myself through, and once I'd reached my destination, the 500 miles, I had such an awakening again, of really being proud of myself, and not what I'd just achieved on the paddle, but what I really achieved in life to get to that point, and the struggles that I'd gone through. So for me, it was really tough to think about going back to my regular life and business and all those things I was doing before the paddle. and it just began my journey now, of what I do and what I continue to do. And it just set me on that path, like I still have tough times, but life's a hell of a lot easier now. Now I understand it. Now I process it all, and this is what I help share with other people.
Mhm. Which is so important. The majority of my guests have been through something very difficult in their lives, but I think that with you just even growing up with such a large burden on your shoulders, you kind of, started off hard as a kid. I love the analogy of comparing people to sharks because I definitely can see that in some
Yeah.
people. Um, I love your outlook. I think it's really important to try to focus on the good things in life and try to learn from our hard experiences. Each person kind of goes through something really difficult. I will say that yours is more difficult than mine, in my opinion, because you started at such a young age having those trials. So I think that you're much more seasoned than me and able to give even better advice because of the things that you went through. So I love that you're turning your experiences that were difficult into helping other people. I think that's amazing. So, one of the topics that I listened to on your Facebook was you talking about um, basically focusing on the good things that we've done in life. And I would love it if you could tell our listeners maybe some points or kind of let them know what that talk was like because it was so impactful to me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like we all go through our challenges and obstacles in life, and it's all relative to who we are and where we are at this point in our life as well. But a lot of people, they're just happy to get through that tough time and continue on instead of stopping the process and understand what they've actually learned from it and why they were in that position in the first place. We're pretty quick to throw out the blame to other people, but really ultimately it's up to us. This is our life, and we've got to take responsibility for our own actions and what we do in it and the choices that we make, whether it be the situation we're in, the location we're in, or the people that we surround ourselves with. But because we all go through all these tough challenges, I find that the best way is just to look back and take the negatives away and just think of the positives that we've learned from it. And these are the skills and tools that, we take from that day to this forward from this day to the next with us. We get so equipped. We're like carpenters that just start out with a hammer, and then at the end of it we've got trucks full of tools, and we've got a tool for every job. And this is what our life's like as well. We learn so many tools in different situations, and the more we understand them and process them, the easier things become. And what seem like major challenges and difficult times now, or later on, once we practice it and use these tools, they just seem like nothing at all.
Mhm.
So for me, what were major issues that were weighing me down before the paddle, it just don't seem relevant at all anymore. They're nothing I even really think about. But I
Mhm.
still just take the tools that I learn intuitively, because that's ultimately it's, we can get all the advice and the support from everyone else, but ultimately it's us who's getting ourselves up every single day to be able to move forward to the next day. And so it's great to be able to take the tools and the support from other people and the words from other people, but they've got a connection with those words themselves. We need to connect our words to ourselves and have ownership of that. And that's what we take forward, that connection to ourselves, not just looking for answers outwards. It's looking within to strengthen ourselves so we can get through anything. And the reason that is because people come and go out of your life. They might be there for a short time or a long time, and they're not always going to be our security blanket to hang on to get us through these troubles. If they're not there and shit hits a fan, then we're like, well, what are we going to do? So we need to empower ourselves with this and with our own message and our own connection to our own breath and our own words to be able to move forward.
Mhm. Absolutely. So I have to ask you because your words are just like hit me right here. um, how did you start public speaking? Because it just seems like you're a natural. Like, when did you figure out that that's what you're supposed to be doing?
Look, I guess it was just from the paddle. I just was paddling down, and people who had gone through like child abuse trauma were reaching out and really supportive of what I was doing. And I guess they were living vicariously through my challenges to help them get through their own challenges in life. And because my challenges are so extreme, for them just to be able to get off the lounge and walk around the block seems more attainable for them. It's not that big a deal because they go, well, if he can paddle and fight off sharks, surely I can walk around the block. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. It's about simplifying things for other people. Like, I do it extreme, so everyday life just seems normal and simple. So I guess it just started that way. Like, I was just conversing with a lot of people, and then I had a film put out on National Geographic of my paddle and my past.
What?
Um,
How did I miss that? I didn't even know that. Can you tell us where can we see that? Is it possible to obtain this?
yeah, so it's on Vimeo at the moment, so Vimeo on demand. You can see there's two films on there. The first one, Heart of the Seas, is the better one, I would say.
Mhm.
It really goes into my past, and it's really raw, and I love it. I love it because it's gone to 41 countries. I've had millions of people, contact and, say how it's helped them and changed them and inspired them in all sorts of different ways. And, I kind of see it like a song. We all interpret songs in different ways, and it might be different from what the artist originally wrote it as. But as long as it's we use it in a positive way, and the words, connect with us, well, then that's fantastic. And that's the same as with my film Heart at Sea. People get what they need out of it, whether they've been through child abuse or trauma or just overcoming any sort of obstacle, physical, mental, emotional in their life, to be able to keep moving forward. So it's something I'm very proud of, but it's also, it's a way I was able to connect with so many people around the world, like, just thousands, thousands and thousands. Sometimes it's overwhelming, like when it goes to a new country, and I know I'm getting inundated with messages, but I sit there and I answer every single message myself to every person who messages. It's not like I get someone else to do it. I take my time and I go through every single message, no matter how long it takes me. And sometimes it takes weeks. You just constantly, but
Well,
I make sure.
I sure feel lucky then because I've seen a lot of your short videos on your Facebook and I do get pretty busy myself. So I'm not able to really watch too much TV or anything. I'm not positive how I stumbled upon your site, but I was in awe of the great encouragement that you've given to people. So I'm really thankful that you do check your messages and that we're able to connect. I thank you for that. And we are going to share that film like crazy for you too. So
Right.
just know that.
Yeah, so I'll send a link through, and yeah, people can check it out. And so everything for me just sort of started off that way, and then I started to do talks, and I was a keynote speaker for the Australian Royal Commission on Sexual Child Abuse in Australia, and that was like a historical global event, really. And then everything just kind of just went on from there, and I just, for me, it's about living the experience, knowing it, exploring it a little bit more, and then sharing those tools with other people. I don't talk about anything that I don't know. Like, I don't just watch YouTube clips or just read someone else's self-help book. I
Right.
have to go out there and experience it myself. So I've got an undeniable knowledge of it and be able to simplify it to everyone else, not give it in a complicated way, just make it nice and easy so everyone can understand what it is and be able to use the tools to help millions.
Mhm.
That people have that saying, if I do something and it helps one person, then it's all worth it.
Mhm.
But for me, I'm like, well, that's setting the bar way too low for me.
Mhm.
Like, I'm here
Yes.
to help millions and
Yes.
millions of people. It's just, this is just my life. It's just what I do now, you know?
Well, I love it because I'm pretty busy. And so I choose which videos I want to surround myself with or what kind of social media. And I love that you don't have all this fluff. You just tell it like it is. You
Yeah,
share your experience, you get right to the point, and that I love.
thanks.
So, thank you. So, where can we find your website, your social media? Could you tell everybody who's listening?
Sure. So Instagram's, pretty popular for me to use, I guess. So it's just Damien Rider, DamienRider. That's all it is. And then the website's the same, just damienrider.com. People can contact me on either of them at any time and talk about absolutely anything that you like, whether it's where to travel to, what to eat, you know, emotional trauma that they're overcoming, whatever it is, it's I'm always happy to chat with anyone out there, and or people can come and watch my talks or come here to Mazada Point to go through a program if they want, go through that full transformation, that one-on-one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways, and I'm so open to it as well for everyone. I mean, this is why I do it, and I look at it as that's why I went through all that trauma as a child to be able to do this now and to be able to share this now in such a honest and authentic way. It's super important to me, um, just to be authentic with the whole thing, and not fluff around, and just tell people just how it is, and show people what's possible in life, and that's what all my challenges are about, and that's what my lifestyle is about as well. Take that burden off people's shoulders, and yeah, just show them, the amazing life that they can have, but also, not sugarcoat it and go, right, well, nothing bad's ever going to happen for the rest of your life. Things
Right.
happen, but so long as you got the tools, that period of stress, depression will come down. So the more you use those tools, the shorter that the time will come. It's just keeping up practice, like you're learning a new sport, new skill, anything that it is. It's funny because when we're born, we're intuitively driven, with a thirst for exploring all there is, and nowhere in our minds are the words try, fail, or impossible. But
Mhm.
because later on we get influenced by all these different ways, and people telling us how we should live our life, and now we've got social media telling us how we should be,
Mhm.
and so everyone gets so confused and loses that intuition, because we're so looking outwards to go, all right, am I supposed to be this way? Am I supposed to be that way? Am I supposed to have this job?
Mhm.
I think it's later on in life you start sort of dissecting that back down to come back to knowing what's right for you.
Mhm.
It's kind of like we go on this full circle.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's funny because I'm definitely in a spot in my life where I just cut through the chase and get where I need to go and do what I'm supposed to do. And I don't worry about everybody else. It's not my
Yeah,
job to do that. So, I'm so thankful that you took time to be on the show. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to share uh, the film that you did. We're going to share all your social media. Is there any way that people can learn about the retreats? Is that on your website too?
yeah. There'll be a link up there pretty soon, but otherwise you just go to visitmazada.com,
Okay.
and yeah. So I'll share that link with you as well, so people can check that out too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. And
Thank you.
thank you all for listening. And we're going to share all of the websites that Damon has. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Awesome. Thanks so
listening.
much.